Hey everyone. Nice to see you all. And welcome to the EV show by Ludicrous Feed. I'm your host, Tom. Thanks for joining us this evening, 17th of April 2024. Nice to see you all on the chat this evening. And yeah, not a bad evening here in Sydney. I'm hearing it's a bit colder down in Victoria, but still nice and warm in some parts of Australia. So nice of you to all join us. We're getting 86 viewers already at the start of the show. So thank you so much for all your support on the channel. Let's welcome our one and only guest, our only friend. Well, only friend. No, one of many friends, but Riz, the one and only. Getting my words mixed up. How are you, Riz, this evening?
Yeah, going well, Tom. I've got a bit of a funny story to tell some of our audience. I did end up at the Rolls-Royce dealership in Melbourne, and they said the only Spectre that they had after the one that I took delivery of is on its way to you, Tom.
Oh.
As a high net worth individual, that's where it's heading for next month, the big unveil.
Yes, that's right. All $30 million of mine sitting in Sydney waiting for it to cover up. That's what it is. Ultra high net worth individual. That's what they asked for. Any of you viewers, UHNWs out there, that'll help us get more cars like that on the channel. All right, well, thanks to our sponsors this evening, of course, Carloop and Koba Car Insurance. Carloop, Riz, of course, the founder of Data to Empower Australia's EV revolution, and of course, Koba Car Insurance. They've just launched their EV specific product as well. So great to have them sponsor the channel. All right, well, let's welcome Elliot Richards from Fully Charged Live, joining us once again on Ludicrous Feed. Hello, Elliot. Nice to see you.
Hello, guys. Good to see you again. Very happy to be back here. I also have a Spectre story as well.
Do tell.
I was in a conference last week in the UK, and none other than Sam from Seen Through Glass turned up in the Spectre. He's doing his review of it, and I had a bit of a fanboy moment and I spoke to him for a few minutes about the Spectre, and it was outside in the car park. What a machine. Riz, I'm so jealous.
Oh, look, I've only seen it through the glass windows of a Rolls-Royce dealership as well, despite popular belief.
I can imagine you, Riz, hands up on the glass, fogging up the windows there, looking in.
For any one of the rap music fans, it's called Window Shopper by 50 Cent. So you're always just looking through the windows.
Nice. So, Elliot, not only will you know, but I've got the Spectre on review next month, May 20th.
Oh, no way.
Yes, they actually agreed to let me look at it and drive it, hopefully, for a couple of hours. Well, I don't know how long, but they said for the day.
That's amazing. Look at it and drive it. That's incredible.
I know. They're going to open the door for me to go inside.
I think with a Rolls-Royce, you want to be driven in it, right? Rather than driving it. But, yeah.
Let's see if they trust me with the car. I don't know. I might get driven. Just for a trust thing. Well, how was Fully Charged Live in London, or everything electric in London? Yeah,
it was really good. It was very, very busy, well attended. It was over 3 days, new location. Well, London. It was in the ExCeL, which is in the Docklands area of London, just before the bank holiday. It was incredible. Like, the energy is very different, I would say, from the Australian show to the UK show. We're still struggling with our useless, inept, coal-loving government. So I think that really hangs a dark cloud over everyone. I'm hoping that with the change of government later in the year, that will start to lift. But loads of very interesting people doing very cool things in the green energy space. Lots of interesting electric cars, and loads of interesting people to talk to. So it's fantastic, just as tiring. And I think that's it for me now until Australia next year.
Oh, hey, fantastic! Oh, good. We've got a date as well for next year for Australia, I think.
Potentially, yeah. I don't actually know. I probably should have read an email somewhere, but yeah, I think it's been booked in already.
Okay, nice. Can't wait. All right, well, let's push on with today's articles. But before we do that, let's say hello to our members as always. We've got Scott joining us tonight. He says, hello, Hollywood Riz and China Driver. That's you, Elliot. And of course, me, BYD Tom. Tassie Thylacine sends his apologies. We've got, who else? We've got Gaffer's joining us. Hello, Gaffer. We've got Oz Screamer. Jason Oakley. Hello there. And Terry Seaton picking up his seal next Friday. Congratulations, my friend. Well done. SWS joining from New Beetham, Queensland. And Wayne Richardson from Toowoomba. Wayne's got an interesting story. He sent me an email this evening saying that he had his service today, I think. Let's have a look. His email said, original Batman tyres on his Atto 3, drives in sports mode 100% of the time, always pump tyres to 40 psi, high regen, sports steering always on, and the front brake pads are still at original thickness, and rear brakes have lost 1 millimeter only, which is pretty good. And he normally gets 400 kilometers on the highway and 350 kilometers around town. So that's a great story. Thanks, Wayne, for sharing that about his Atto 3. Yes, thank you. And hello, Aaron. Nice to see you. Hello, Jasper. Hello, Robin Jules. Hello, Hal. Hello, Simon H. Hello, Scott Hutchings. Hello, indeed. Hello, John. A lot of members on, guys. It's great to see. Thank you. And yeah, hello, Sensei. See you on there. Always gifting memberships. Thank you. And hello, Kangaroo Island TV. Hello, Richard Laxton. Nice to see you. And Lewis, hello as well. All right. Well, thank you so much. 136 viewers already. I think they all queued up to see you earlier tonight.
I don't think so, but should we get chatting?
Let's do it. All right. Well, let's start off with our first story or first sort of public service announcement for tonight, which is Riz, you shared this one with me. So Kia has sent a recall out to its customers, or at least its EV6 owners. We sort of chatted about this a few weeks ago about the integrated charging unit in the EGMP cars. It says here, due to a software issue, the ICCU may develop an internal fault causing a warning light to illuminate on the instrument cluster and the 12-volt battery to stop charging. This may result in a loss of motive power. So if you own an EV6, I suggest you get to your local service center to get that checked out.
And likewise for the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6 owners out there, there's also a recall. I believe similar sort of issue. So just have a look at Recall Australia's website, and you will be able to find a CSV file with VIN numbers in it. If yours pops up, I'm sure Kia and Hyundai will reach out as well. So yeah, that's cool. Actually, Elliot, while we've got you on, we spoke at the Fully Charged show about Kia and Hyundai and sort of the way their performance in China. What's happened since is, for the first time, we will start to get Kias manufactured in China coming to Australia, the EV5.
Yeah, I saw that. Hang on. So first of all, Kia just suddenly started making EVs in China after making petrol cars for many years and many years of declining sales, right? And then that's the one that they're going to start shipping overseas. I mean, it makes sense because they've got this huge factory and a workforce who don't have much to do because their sales have collapsed. I mean, if it brings more Kia EV cars to China, that's a good thing. But with the competition here, I think they're going to struggle, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Kia's justification or their update in Australia was, for the first time, we're going to get it made in China, and that customers in Australia no longer have to wait for their Kias to be built in South Korea, which are being snapped up by US and European dealers. So they reckon that there's no supply shortage, which I guess makes sense given there's a bigger market outside of China, well, technically. Yeah, I also heard news, I think, that it's got the BYD Blade battery in some of their entry-level models, maybe all of them.
We're hearing that from New Zealand as well, I think. So that's been confirmed, that they were getting the BYD Blade battery in their cars too. There's pricing in New Zealand too, Riz and Elliot. So we're thinking it might be around about that Model Y price range, which is sitting at about 65,000 Aussie at the moment. So fingers crossed. I think they need to be competitive to match it with Tesla at the moment.
I think first of all, I'm really happy that BYD Blade batteries are going in more cars because they are very good. They're safe. They're million-mile batteries, right? But I think both CATL and BYD have said the price of batteries this year is going to halve, or it already has halved, which means then these electric cars become even cheaper. So I think it's a good thing for consumers in every way, to be honest.
Exactly. We'll touch on EV sales and this supposed shortage, or not shortage, but drop in EV sales around the world a bit later on in the show. But Before we do that, I just want to share this really quickly. Now, I reviewed this product for the Tesla Model Y this week. This is the sexy buttons and the sexy knob. So if anybody can think of a competition that we can run to give these away, they've promised me 2 of these products as sort of a sponsorship to give away to you guys. So think of a competition I can run, and we can give some of these away to you guys. So keep those comments coming in the chat. All right, so speaking of EVs from China, we've got the GWM Ora. It's now available in Queensland from possibly as low as $26,000 with the rebates. This is making it the cheapest EV in Australia at the moment. Riz, that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's getting closer to like a ICE equivalent of a Corolla hybrid. I mean, that's cheaper than most average Corolla hybrids, which is a good thing. I mean, obviously the looks are, some people really like it. Other people think, hey, it's a bit, sort of Beetle-ish like, and that's not what they want. But having said that, we have an electric car under $30,000 in some parts of Australia.
That's right. Elliot, you seen many of these around in Shanghai?
Yeah, you see quite a few. I mean, it's not. I mean, Shanghai is full of like high-end cars, right? Because everyone's showing off how much money they've got. So there's not so many of them, but you do see the GT version of this quite a lot. The quite, I think, sporty looking, whatever its name is now. It keeps changing its name, right?
Funky cat or something.
Yeah, but what I'm more excited about is what's coming out from GWM, like after this, because they've got so many like Jeeps, potentially Utes as well. So I think if they can get themselves established in the market with this, then it should lead to an influx of more interesting EVs.
Now, from memory, I think the standard range was actually pretty good value already because it came with an LFP battery. All the trims were pretty good already, and I think the added price for the long range wasn't worth it from memory. So I think that's quite a good deal. The standard range Aura. So if you're looking for a car that's around that 30,000 Australian dollar mark, that's a pretty good looking at the moment. So check that one out.
And just quickly, I guess what will be interesting to see is in the next year or two what these end up on the used EV market. I mean, if by that stage they're sort of in the late teens, early 20s, that would be a pretty good deal for a nearly new electric vehicle. Worth checking out.
That's right. It's pretty good. All right. So next one, Riz. This is right up your alley. We know how much Elliot loves Cybertrucks, but that's okay. Here we go. The monster Cybertruck spotted in the US.
Look, it seems to be that, anyone that wants to stand out for the right or the wrong reasons just wraps it in whatever they feel like, and all of a sudden it's making news. So we've energy drink brands, we've got rappers, we have celebrities. Yeah, I think it's a fashion statement in the automotive industry for some people.
Because I think this Monster Energy wrap would look quite good on your Spectre, actually.
That's what I'm thinking as well. After I paid 250,000 Australian dollars for our special purple with pearlescent and gold speckles in it, I think, the wrapping is the way to go, just to protect that very special paint.
And just to make that $1 million worth of car back, Riz. I mean, come on.
Yes.
790, what is it? 770 here in Australia base without any options for the Spectre?
Yeah,
Wow.
770. It's crazy. Elliot, obviously you've been in and out of the UK, sort of you go there for shows and the rest of it. Are Rolls-Royce even like, is that a really sort of luxurious brand for the very few, or do you see quite a few around London?
I mean, there's more of them in London, but it's still seen as it is the most premium brand you can get in the world, right? There's nothing beats Rolls-Royce. So much history and behind it, but yeah, it's seen as super premium, and the Spectre is like, it's even more expensive now. Like, so yeah, it's still holding that top spot.
And BMW reckons Rolls-Royce sales are, going through the roof. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
crazy.
it is crazy, but you've got, I mean, don't want to get too much in this, but the divide between the super rich and those who have less and less is obviously getting wider and wider. So you've got more and more billionaires who can afford, Spectres or whatever. So yeah, it's probably just going to increase, isn't it, as some countries got more wealthy in the future.
Well, we'll have one more next month, Tom.
There'll be one in Sydney.
One in Sydney, Australia.
I was going to say, Elliot, if anywhere in the world would have a Spectre, it would be Shanghai. There'd be surely more Spectres than most other cities around the world.
Oh, yeah, actually, I remember seeing, so that Rolls Royces are quite popular. In fact, in my compound, there's someone with the Rolls Royce Jeep, the ICE version. That's double the prices. You're talking about £800,000 maybe, which is what, 1.6 million Australian dollars. I mean, ridiculous price. So there's quite a lot here. One guy's got he's painted it in rainbow colors, which all merge into each other. So it starts off at pink and then goes red and then all the way across the car. And you just think you've got so much money that and it's convertible, that you've just done that to your Rolls Royce, which is double the price because the luxury tax here is 100%. And it's just insane. Wow.
You couldn't decide what color. Just paint them all. Yeah, I'll take them all.
Exactly.
More is more, right?
Yeah.
Well, we won't judge. It's okay. Everyone's good here. Now, sticking with Tesla news, we've got a visual update coming very shortly. Those Model Ys and 3s with the AMD chip, you'll get a new screen very shortly. Immersive full-screen vehicle controls when parked, large playback controls, quick access to recents, favorites and up next, and more autopilot visualizations with a smaller map in the corner there. Looking forward to seeing this. I mean, now those obviously who don't know Tesla, we've got the big map at the moment covering like 3/4 of the screen, even when the car's stationary. So now they're shoving this in the corner when the car's still. Interesting decision. And also auto shift beta for Model S X 2021 and later. And Audible is available very shortly too. That's good, because Audible is something I use as well sometimes, listening to audiobooks in the car. And preview of Sentry mode recordings. And increased regen force on the highway. Okay, that's good to know.
Are we talking about Tesla again later with what's happened with the company in the last week?
Well, we can chat about it now. That's a good segue, I think.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Because they've just reduced their workforce, I think, by 10%. The big heads roll. Rethinks future as a car maker. Now, for me, I've been saying for a long time that if you're not innovating quickly enough, especially in the Chinese market, you're out of the game very quickly. And other than the Highland Model 3, there hasn't been much innovation. And the problem was, I think, they spent so long developing the Cybertruck that they've been distracted for, 2 to 3 years, when they should really have been doing that cheaper Model 2. And now I think they've got themselves into a very difficult corner where I think sales will start declining this year, especially, in China, certainly, which could be felt across the world. So I want to get your guys' opinion on this.
Yeah, I think this article from Giles in The Driven, I think mentions 20%, so it goes even higher, 20% of its global workforce, which of course I think most are in the US anyway and China. And obviously, is it because it's not competing with the Chinese cars, or is it because they're taking a new direction into FSD and Cybertruck and whatnot? It's hard to know, really, but you're right, Elliot. I think, the Model 2 probably should have been built 2 or 3 years ago. We chatted about this last week. A lot of the Chinese automakers have caught up in the last few years. And, I mean, look at Australia, right? We're seeing a lot more Chinese cars that are quite affordable. Atto 3, GWM Ora, we just touched on that. Zeeker's coming to Australia very soon as well. Cherry's coming. So lots more competition. Riz.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, Elliot, good point. That they should have focused a little bit more on the more affordable one. The recent news, obviously, around whether it's true or not that they are potentially pausing the Model 2, whatever that affordable vehicle platform was, from actually being a driven car and more focused around a robo-taxi sort of model, could be a possibility that Elon Musk and the team think they can bypass Model 2 as a vehicle and just have the robo-taxis doing stuff, which is, one step ahead. I mean, you recently tested the XPeng's full self-driving sort of software and how good that is. So the Chinese brands are catching up so quickly in many of those areas. With regards to, I guess, cutting off workforces, it's not the first time. It's happened before. I guess one of the more famous ones was when Elon Musk took over Twitter. 70% of the workforce went, allegedly, and the company's apparently more profitable now than it was and seems to be rolling out new features and those type of things. Very hard to tell what's actually going on with Tesla, though. There may be some parallels. There probably aren't too many. But it also allows for, newer, younger people with new ideas to step up into more senior roles to see, hopefully help accelerate this more affordable car and get it to market sooner. Otherwise, there is hundreds of those models coming out of China, Elliot, as you've seen.
I think if there's one company who can get themselves out of this situation, it probably is Tesla. But whether it's their strategy, if they want to do that, or if they, it's hard to say at the moment because they seem to be at a bit of a crossroads. I think, I don't know. We could talk about this for about half an hour, but I'm not sure.
Well, Elliot, I was going to ask you because Riz and I were recently at the Chery launch, and someone asked about, ADAS and autonomy, and the rhetoric from Chery was that yes, in China the roads are better, the lane markings are clearer, all that kind of stuff. That's why ADAS seems to be tuned for that kind of controlled environment. I mean, in your situation, you lived in Shanghai for quite a few years now. Can you see? I mean, if anywhere in the world will have robo-taxi or whatever you want to call it, some sort of autonomous fleet, it's got to be China, Shanghai, right? Can you see that realistically happen in the next 5 to 10 years in Shanghai?
It's already here. So in a number of areas here, we've got autonomous taxis which will pick you up and drop you off. They're all none of them are Teslas. They're all, what are they? They're all various different models with different technology from different companies. So I know Baidu does one, but they are functioning commercially, available on the market. So, the future's already here. And I was saying about the XPeng Unlimited NGP, which is their driving program. Obviously, it uses LiDAR as well as radar, but it now doesn't need to map the streets, beforehand and save it to the car or the cloud. It can just go on any road because it just reads the road, live and then and kind of directs itself like that. That kind of really is the game changer because the first company who can commercialize self-driving for trucks, taxis, whatever else it might be, will be the first to the pot of gold, right? If you can successfully ship that overseas on a cheap enough unit, you're going to be in big bucks. So I don't know. Who knows if that will be Tesla because they spent a lot of money and a lot of time doing it. But radar is limiting, right? LiDAR's, I think, clearly much better, but Tesla software is better. It's still up in the air, right? We don't know what will happen, but I still skeptical about this robo-taxi from Tesla because we haven't seen it yet.
And this is, I think, very good point there, Elliot. Like there is a very, on X, there's Chris Zheng who is, I think, based in Shanghai, seems to know quite a bit about what's going on in the autonomous AI space in China and more broadly. Recently, one of his sort of X posts stated that there are a few manufacturers in China that are now considering moving away from LiDAR. I mean, it's all a bit of a gamble, right? Whatever technology works for it, as long as it's functional. And yes, whichever company, whether it's XPeng, some of the Chinese brands, I don't see any of the European ones doing much in that space. It's either the Chinese or the Tesla brand. If either one of them, and they'll all sort of choose their own markets. Like Alibaba specifically chose the Chinese market to dominate in that. And then the European or eBay stuck to America for most part of it. Maybe that's the way it's going to play out. We're going to have Tesla doing quite a lot in the US, North America, other parts of the Western world in terms of autonomous driving and getting sort of that element of it right because they had hired drivers in Europe, and the Australian testing was also being done last year. If that's the way they go, maybe that's the sort of strategy. Europe, the rest of the world, and then the Chinese OEMs are going to get very good at maneuvering through high definition maps through China. There's huge market there, and maybe we're going to see this bit of a competitive battle between whether it's Tesla versus the Chinese car makers or vice versa. But the reality is we need to get a mass production, low cost EV on the ground in places like China, India, Southeast Asia, Africa, rest of the world, and that there needs to be a bit more focus from Tesla on that front as well.
I mean, just back on autonomy, just before we touch on the low-cost stuff, like there's obviously a battleground now between camera-based, which is what Tesla's doing, versus LiDAR, radar on the other side of the coin. We saw a stream from Tesla a few years ago saying they're going to map out basically the whole world in a simulation, and that's how they're going to, make FSD safer. On the other hand, LiDAR just captures, as Elliot said, just whatever you see in front of you. So there's that two different types of philosophy. What's the answer? We don't know. What's going to work better in the future, right? In a more controlled society or roads like Shanghai, maybe LiDAR is the way to go because it's more controlled. But in more uncontrolled situations where there's heaps of variables, I don't know. Maybe it's still something else. You need to map it beforehand. So that's the curiosity, isn't it? I'm seeing in the chat here very, very sort of mixed feelings. People are saying no, they should have focused on Model 2 and a low-cost car. And other people are saying no, autonomy is the way to go. So, even amongst us EV folk, we just can't decide either which way Tesla should be going in the future. It's a tough call.
One thing's clear, we'll find out on 8th of August. That is the day. Apparently 8. It's special characters and numbers. We'll find out what gets revealed.
8th of the 8th. What's that? That's only what are we now? April, so 4 months away. All right. Cool. Just keep going with Tesla just for the time being. We've got new seats for Model S coming soon with all the high-speed stuff. Look, see, again, okay, FSD for Tesla, fine, all good. But as you said, people still want to drive cars. So I think they still kind of need two arms of the company. One for FSD, one for autonomy. But other side, just for people still want to drive the cars. Yeah. What's the answer?
Why don't we have both?
Why not both? Now, Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive available in Denmark. Seen that for a while. Long-range rear-wheel drive. Our long-range here is all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
600k is WLTP?
I think so.
It's pretty good.
Are we expecting a Model Y update this year? As in like Highland version of it?
Juniper,
sorry.
Will it move the needle though, Elliot?
No.
Just for some perspective, last year, more than half of all vehicles Tesla produced were made in Shanghai. That's globally. So the question is, does Tesla need China or does China need Tesla? I think it's a combination. But, as the Chinese brands get better and better, what does that look like? We're not sure. So yeah, if that refresh does come in, the Juniper one, will it move the needle in a significant way for, let's say, Chinese consumers? Not sure.
If it's just a kind of refresh like the Model 3 was with the Highland with a bit of a different styling and different materials, no.
I mean, it wasn't a full upgrade, the Highland. It was just kind of a mid-cycle upgrade. Sure, better suspension, nicer trims, but essentially it's the same chassis, same body, same battery. So I suspect the Y will be the same. Now, what's curious is whether they'll put the stalks back or just double down on the lack of stalks and just go, yep, we're all in. Don't know.
So we've got the Highland here downstairs. My wife bought it, and I still can't get used to the lack of stalks. I just think that's an innovation too far. I can put up with the screen, selecting the drive modes, fine, but the stalks, it's just something you don't mess with that, right? It's like the steering wheel and the pedals. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old.
Do you have many roundabouts in Shanghai?
No, very few.
Yeah.
Is it a nightmare?
Well, that's the thing. I test drove it with roundabouts, and it is a nightmare if you want to do the right thing, which is indicating out. So when the wheel is upside down, then yeah, I mean you're all over the place. Or you can just break the rule and just go, yep, I'll just come out without indicating out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting mixed comments too from my audience on my channel. Like people saying, yes, I love the stalks. People don't want the stalks. People with the Highland 3 not getting used to it. You know, it's kind of a mixed bag at the moment. But interesting to see hear what you say about it, Elliot, with the lack of stalks and still not getting used to it after a while. Interesting. All right, let's move on. Speaking of Model 3, the Ludicrous spotted at Shanghai's port. And I'll just share it, sorry. And some right-hand drive cars spotted as well. There you go. So they're coming soon, Riz.
They're on the way.
Got comments here from the audience. We've got pro stalks from Scott. No stalks from Hal. Scott saying no stalks. Oh, no, it's Jason saying stalks for the win. Scott saying no stalks. See, it's 50-50. Hal's saying as a long-term Tesla follower, they have a stack of challenges over time and still survive. Staff layoffs are part of any business, and Tesla have done this many times. Yep, as you said, Riz, keeping the business lean. Jules is saying no, love no stalks. Can use the buttons fine on roundabouts. Good. Nick, stalks are likely required for mass sales. Too futuristic for most buyers not to have them. Gene saying no stalks is a safety issue. Should not have passed ADR.
I think one of the senior executives at Tesla said that last year, out of the 1 million cars they sold, 90% of them were first-time Tesla owners. So if that's anything to go by, people are coming from vehicles with stalks, and maybe they need something in the middle. Maybe it's too big of a change. Would it stop people? I guess if they make it to the stage where they test drive the car and then they make up their mind and that feedback goes back to Tesla, then maybe that change will come. But yeah, at this stage, I think Model 3, if it doesn't have the Model Y, will not have them either.
Now, I remember when the Highland leaked photos came out, it was about 6 months between the first kind of leaked photos and videos arrived to the reality of being able to order one online. So as soon as we see the first Model Y leaked photo, then we know it's about 6 months away. So bit of a heads up there. Just one more Tesla bit of news. So FSD, back on FSD, subscription has dropped from $199 a month to $99 a month. So something worth trying out if you're over there. See, this is another reason why it may not be worth getting FSD capable software at the moment for 10,000 Australian dollars. If this ever comes to Australia, you can just pay, $200 a month to try it out for a few months, rather than paying that 10 grand up front, which you may not get back if you sell that car. So interesting. You didn't add FSD, I assume, Elliot, on your Tesla Model 3?
No, we can't get it here. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chinese market is a bit annoyed that they can't get it, whereas all the other Chinese competitors have it as standard, right? So that's another black mark against Tesla at the moment.
What about enhanced autopilot?
You can get that, yeah. We've got that on a trial, 3 months trial. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so moving on to, here we go, Chinese cars. We've got the YangWang U9 spotted, charging with dual charging ports. Let's have a look. If I had a car like this, I'd take up 2 spots too. Just saying.
I mean, this is just like, I don't know, this is like the worst behavior from someone who's driving an EV, right? I'm going to take 2 charging ports and park over 2 spaces because my car is very expensive.
But it can charge both ports, right?
Yeah. So, and interesting, at the beginning of this video, it's next to something called a Denza MPV that can do the same as well. Denza is 10% owned by Mercedes and collaboration
BYD?
with BYD. Yeah,
Look at that wing.
I know.
That's huge.
Yeah,
This was at the Bangkok Motor Show recently.
Ah, yeah.
仰望 U9 双前充电
500 kilowatts.
这个
Crazy.
This must have the Shenzhen battery.
yeah, I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely, if it can get,
仰望 U9 的
you know,
双前充电
2 Vangs worth of charging into one.
有双前充电啊，看一下这个 U9
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
把充电线插上去，双前走起啊。
It's weird how most people are not really getting that excited about electric supercars. I'm sure there's a good number of people who are quite excited by this, but I think generally I've seen people are not that fussed about them. They're more interested in the small, I mean, it's what people can afford, of course, right? But the small EVs, the practical EVs, like the wagons and things like that. This doesn't seem to be doing it for a lot of people at the moment.
Question for you, Elliot. When is Elliot going to test this supercar?
I'm speaking to BYD now. Hopefully we're going down in May to drive it. I don't know whether I'll be doing that fully charged or myself. So I want to drive it anyway. So whether it's for them or for me, you should see the video. Hopefully.
Oh, awesome. Nice. Now, BYD, speaking of, spotted the BYD Shark, which I think is the hybrid ute, spotted on Facebook this week.
What do you guys think about BYD bringing over hybrids?
Oh, do we have half an hour? Yes, we do. Yep, go. I'm in two minds, Elliot. I'm not sure because, I mean, you know, they started the company here in Australia. Well, they started their cars here with just EVs, right? Atto 3,
Yeah.
Dolphin, now Seal, and now they're bringing the CLU and possibly this car. I don't know. I feel a bit betrayed. You know, was sold an
Yeah.
EV kind of product, and now, a bit heartbroken.
I feel the same way as you. I'm like, what? Hang on, what are you guys doing? Why? I mean, they want to make sales, right? And they're going to make sales with a hybrid. I get it, but I thought, you know, BYD's, and it's BYD in general. They say, oh, we stopped making petrol engines.
Yes.
So well, actually, you still make 150,000 of them per month. They're just part of a hybrid system. You know, it's a bit of a con. I mean, I'll probably never get to drive a BYD again after this, but
Right. Tell like it is.
I'm just I'm very disappointed. You know, you come into the market with an EV only brand, you know, it's future thinking and okay, but then you bring out the Seal whatever it's called. What is it?
Yes.
Seal what?
Seal you.
Which is horrific looking and I just think that's awful. And why bring out this?
And just on that, in Europe, there are countries that will be getting fully electric version of the CLU. And you sort of think, you know, what's happening? Because, we'll see them very, very soon in Australia as a plug-in hybrid. I don't know what it would do for the brand, sort of referrals, recommendations by existing owners, you know, sales in general. If you're an EV brand, you have, I guess, you have more of a say in the market. Like we're BYD, we've got an electric car, that's all we sell. So people recognize you for that, but then you throw in this confusing mix of vehicles into it. I guess, you know, sales numbers will tell. And maybe, you know, we will get a whole lot of these cars and then people buy them and their next car will be electric. We'll just find out.
I know they've got this new DMI platform, which is like, you know, better than the usual hybrid, where it's got a bigger battery, 20 kilowatt hours, I think. I don't know about you guys. Whenever I've ever tested a plug-in hybrid, I've never been able to get pure electric driving for more than a few kilometers. The petrol always kicks in for some reason, especially when I try and apply more torque on the throttle. It's weird. I don't know whether this will be different at all. But if I were to be testing this, I'd definitely want to try to just have pure electric for as long as I can.
So my videographer, Brian, he has a BYD DMI car. It's the, what's it? The can't remember the name, Tang Han or Chin, I don't know, whatever. It's like an SUV thing, a few years old. So he's got the hybrid version, and it says it can do 1,000 kilometers of range, right? So that's with a small battery and petrol engine, 1.5 liter turbo. And he can get about 50 kilometers, but they're very inefficient kilometers. So in actual fact, he's only getting about 35 to 40 fully electric. And so what he's done is there's a big community out here in China who are hacking the cars, and they're taking over the UI UX and they're customizing it. So then they can customize, when does the engine kick in? When does the electric kick in? And it's free and it's built by the community. And it's like, I don't know if you probably shouldn't be allowed to do it, but because they were all getting frustrated that, the OT updates were making the range worse. They were making the maps worse, and it was very difficult to live with, he said. So I don't think he would get another one.
Let's read some of these comments from our audience. Gene says hybrids are a mistake. Mark says not a fan of BYD bringing hybrids, dilutes the brand as EV only.
Agree.
Beta says BYD hybrid is a smart decision, maybe financially. They sell more cars, yes. Aaron says we need only BEVs from BYD. Step backwards. Robin Jules, it stinks. Wayne, massive BYD fan, but no hybrids personally. Peter says BYD has been making hybrids for yonks. They just never sold them here, which is true. They probably plan to bait and switch tradies. Long game? Maybe. Optimistic.
Maybe.
Rachel says, I love that it's called the Shark, but it broke my heart that they have not delineated from the purity of the Ocean series. Oh, nice one. Very poetic. Jason says, maybe it will help convert the tradies to EVs if they find they don't use the petrol much. Well, this is the thing, Jason. This is what I want to know. How long can you survive on the electric-only powertrain?
Now, BYD has this luxurious, YangWang platform, or that brand, and they have the big four-wheel drives, the U8, I think it's called. And I saw a review this week in Germany. They've got one in Germany at the moment, and this quad motor thing, that vehicle there, this car has, I don't know, some ridiculous, like over 1,000 horsepower out of the four motors and the rest of it. Even with, I think they've got a 40 or 50 kilowatt hour battery in it, but you can't drive it for too long on its electric range, which somewhat beats the purpose of, if it didn't have a battery that large, if it had a 20, 30 kilowatt hour battery, it probably won't even get around, drop the kids off at school and back.
Yeah, exactly.
And how heavy is this one? I think it's over 3 tons.
Oh.
Now, for me, this is everything that's wrong with the world, right? We're making cars which are too big, too heavy, whether at ICE, hybrid, or electric. Do we really need 1,000 horsepower luxury SUV? No. We want the smart innovations which focus on being more lightweight, give us more range, give us more utility, right? Again, this is 120,000 pounds or something. So, $250,000 or more. I mean, why?
So don't the ultra rich people in Shanghai that can afford this, don't they go through the Sahara Desert on their way to work every morning?
They just go the 3 kilometers from work to home or home to work, and that's it, and then take up a huge parking space.
I'm sure some of the North Shore parents do, Riz, when they drop the kids off at school in one of these things. Through the Nullarbor and then back again. Yeah, no, it's crazy. You're right, Elliot. A lot of the trend is becoming, bigger cars, hungrier cars. If it's petrol, it's crazy.
And that's why I loved your episode about the city with Wulings and so many small, cute cars that are just cars, and so many modifications, and no two cars are alike. that's what we should be advocating for in most of our busier cities.
Yeah, there is a way forward that doesn't involve us all driving SUVs, and some places are a bit more enlightened than others, I think.
We've got Hal saying a RAV4 hybrid, their RAV4 hybrid is lucky to power the aircon for 5 minutes before the battery is kaput. What's a regular hybrid battery size like? 4 kilowatt hours, 5 kilowatt hours? It's pretty small.
Yeah, I think it's 7, maybe 7-ish. Yeah, it's not big.
Yeah, Andrew's saying Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV has about 100 Ks all electric. Okay. Sydney EV, the name makes him laugh. Yeah, it's a funny name. It's got a deeper meaning in Mandarin. Nick saying a single motor SUV with less power will be more than suitable. I agree. Most are used to carry kids, school bags, and shopping comfortably. Like our Model Y's rear-wheel drive. Sorry, the Omoda.
Like the Omoda, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All the EV that you need.
Correct. Even the Tesla rear-wheel drive, that's plenty of power for our needs driving around town and on road trips.
How was the Xpeng G6, Elliot? So, you've been an Xpeng owner for a while, or you used to have one anyway. What do you think? How's the new car? It looks awesome.
I mean, Xpeng is I would say it's a very good competitor to something like a Tesla. But it's very Chinese specific product at the moment, right? So all the speech recognition is fantastic, only in Chinese. All of the software, all of the tech that they've managed to squeeze in for such good value for money, and it looks good. That's more than most people need in a car, but you can get like a gadget-filled car for, 30,000 Australian dollars. And you've got a great community, good servicing. It's a really good alternative here. I mean, there's a lot of competition which can do the same, but I think the self-driving for Xpeng kind of takes it up to that next level. I think you can get that as standard in most of their cars now, as like a standard option, and that kind of changes the game. Well, in my opinion, whether it will on the market, I don't know.
They are coming, apparently, to right-hand drive markets, Singapore being one, Malaysia being another, Thailand. They were at, I think, the Bangkok Auto Show, so
They were.
probably not far from even landing in Australia later this year or early next year.
Yeah, we know Singapore had a launch, didn't they, recently for the Xpeng? Or it was seen there anyway.
Q3 deliveries.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, I think the issue is, right, they've got limited sales in China. They sell about 10,000 units a month. They've got 4 or 5 models. So they need to start selling overseas to maintain that growth or that sales figure, right? So, and I remember talking to them a few years ago saying, yeah, right-hand drive markets are definitely on their road plan. So I'm glad. I think I would still buy a P7, especially now because they've just reduced the price. It's just a beautiful car, the P7. It's a bit small inside, but.
Now, just slight correction here. Jason's saying the RAV4 has an 18.1 kilowatt hour battery, apparently. I'm just Googling it now, and yes, there is evidence that it's 18.1. So that's reasonably big size for a hybrid. Toyota's claiming 67 kilometers out of that 18 kilowatt hour battery pack. Okay. I stand corrected. Cool. All right, well, let's move on. And sticking with Chinese cars and supercars, or hypercars at least, this is the BYD Fang Cheng Bao and unveils the Super 9. What do you think about this?
Why?
There's your friend, Riz. Hong Chuan Fu.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, Elliot, the backstory is 2 weeks ago he was in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah? You meet up with him in your Spectre?
We were in the same sort of 4 walls.
He breathed the same air.
Same air. Yeah, that's... So this here from the front reminds me of a Lamborghini. Yeah. And the sort of the rest of the shape is like a Porsche 918 Spider. I don't know if it's full EV, what it is it a concept, will it ever be made? But that question you asked, I think earlier, Elliot, like why wouldn't people buy these cars? I think it's anyone that wants a sports car or hypercar wants something light. And so far, I think the YangWang is quite heavy. That's where we're really excited about your passion project, or you know, the guys that are building, what is it, SCO1?
SCO1, yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem. So we're about to go to the Beijing Auto Show next week, which I'm not really looking forward to. You know, and it's always this huge amount of press and, you know, buzz about, you know, concepts and new cars, and it's like, well, you know, again, are we focusing in the wrong area? Is this Super 9 going to come to production? Probably not. So it's like, well, why bother? Is it just to generate headlines and press?
Probably. It's like the Mercedes concept we saw at Bangkok. I mean, that's probably never going to come to production either. Why do they have these cars, right? Just like a Halo car. Where was this comment? Where is it? Original Batmobile. Where's Adam West? Tassie EV.
And don't forget, Wolfgang Egger, the guy, I think this is the designer here, right?
Yes.
He's the guy who designed the guitar strings on the Atto 3. So watch out.
Watch out.
Watch out. I can't see any guitar strings on this one.
No, they're hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pop
Invisible.
out.
So speaking of cars from BYD, Elliot, the Yuan Up, which is, I guess, a jacked up Dolphin,
Yeah.
that has just been released. It's a bit more tame. It is on their electric platform. Do people want small SUVs? Like, is it a popular segment in China? Where do you think it's likely to sell more than the Dolphin?
Oh gosh. So yes, it is popular outside of Shanghai. In tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities and rural China, yeah, these cars are very popular. Will it sell more than the Dolphin? Potentially, yeah. It's a bit more rugged. You know, rural China can be a bit more rough. So yeah, I imagine it will sell more, and especially it will be very competitively priced here.
Does this sit between the Dolphin and the Atto 3 in terms of size?
It's very close lengthwise to the Dolphin. I think it's only about maybe 10 centimeters longer. But yeah, on the inside, it's the interior looks very sort of fairly standard, which is a good thing for people, you know, wanting to get into a car. Hasn't got the strings.
I like this
Shame.
comment. The guitar strings are the drive-by-wire. Nice call. Any stalks in the Super 9? We can't see. Sorry, Nick. Good question, though. Now, we actually need more cars like this one. What do you reckon?
Yes.
The Wuling
Yeah.
Baojun Mini EV.
This this is exactly what I want. I'd love to have one of these. I think they're the right price, the right size, good height, not expensive. It looks cool, and you can completely accessorize these from Wuling. You can go to their store and, you know, change the wheels, change the roof rack, change the step ladder, change the everything. It's really cool. And they've got a new 4-door version of this, which is just about to come out. It's awesome. One of my favorite cars.
The Yep Plus, apparently. Larger variant.
Yeah, that's the one.
There you go. Baojun Yep looks a bit like the Suzuki Jimny.
Jimny.
Yeah.
Features the square box design language. Yep. What's the price? 79,000 RMB to 89,000 RMB. How much would that be?
It's about
11,000.
£8,000, so probably about $16,000, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. There you go. That's the big one.
There's that, yeah.
28 kilowatt hour battery, LFP, CLTC 300, so probably more like 200 kilometers.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the YangWang U8 should have been.
Well, exactly right. This is So it's got the lithium phosphate, not a big battery, 28 kilowatts. It's probably less than 500 kilos. It's practical. It's spacious. Charging from 30 to 80% in 35 minutes. Why do you need a YangWang? You get 10 of these for that.
You want to show off YangWang? Come on.
Yeah, that's right. But in terms of pricing, isn't this what we need? We need, small battery sizes, these mass-produced cars that are affordable. People talk about we need affordability. This is affordable and practical. Yes, not the most Super 9 type of aerodynamically designed vehicle, but you don't need that for people that are doing short distances, going to work, getting back, taking it off-road. So yeah, it's cool. Would love to see you in one, Elliot.
I've driven this. It's on fully charged, and it's on my own channel when we went to the place where they make them.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen that one, but we want the new one.
Oh, the new one
in your driveway or in your car park.
So the only thing that's stopping me from getting one of these is I can't get the plate for Shanghai because it's too small. So for some silly reason in Shanghai, they made a rule about 2 years ago, which said that to get the free number plate, because number plates here cost about £10,000 for a nice car, because they want to reduce the number of cars on the road. So all electric cars get a free plate, but in order to get that free plate, it needs to be over 4 meters long and over 100,000 RMB, so over $20,000. So Wuling mini EVs you can't get here. This you can't get here anymore. It's so frustrating. It's like you're a city and you've cut out the cheap, affordable, small EVs.
Even the big one, the Plus.
Yeah, look, 3,996. It won't meet the regulation.
Still too cheap.
Too small.
Crazy. Too small.
4 millimeters.
So can you get like a length extender on it from Wuling? Add another
extra bumper.
They should have a Shanghai version with a tow hook or
kit.
something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But they did that, didn't they? Like with the Dolphin that came to Europe and the one that came to Australia, it is a slightly longer vehicle. So maybe there's hope, Elliot. They're listening.
I'll let them know.
I mean, this one here, 41 kilowatt hours. That's all you need for a city car. 401 CLTC, so let's say 300 Ks. That's plenty, really, for driving around town. As Rachel says, I love that car. It's so dog-friendly.
Absolutely.
Volvo has a Discovery version. Is this about the same size as the EX30, Riz? Maybe a bit smaller.
I think this might be slightly smaller. I think the EX30 is just over 4 meters. So yeah, this is we hope to see the review in the bigger one. I loved your video on the smaller.
Yeah.
Yep,
that was cool. Gaffer says reminds him of the old Daihatsu F20. Great little shopping cart. Like the Russian Lada Niva. Isn't that was the Rivian? That's the Russian.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah, the new Rivian. Jason's saying about 23,000 Aussie. Yeah, if we're lucky, that'd be good.
Selling in Australia tax.
Yeah, Nick's saying it's a crazy policy, Elliot, for Shanghai.
Yeah, I still don't understand it.
Yep, a lot of toe ball suggestions. Yep. Blue triangle inside that extends the nose. Put a spare tire in the back. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, cool. Now, next one is the Rivian RT1 refresh spotted in California. Still no sign of Rivian ever coming to Australia just yet, which is a shame. Just for testing, though. We've seen that. We know the R2 and R3s were launched earlier this year. Keep an eye on that one. Sticking with the US, so F-150 2024 Lightning orders with new tech and lower prices.
You can probably put the Baojun in the tray of that F-150 and drive it around.
You could definitely get it in this and not the Cybertruck. I agree.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've got price. The base is about the same, but a couple of price drops as we move down the variant chart here. So EPA is pretty accurate, actually. I think probably the most accurate range modeling. So 240 miles is about, what, 400 Ks, maybe? That's pretty good. Yeah. Not a bad looking car. But again, one of these big things that we talked about, do we need so many of these big cars hauling around our cities? Questionable. But we know that Ford is giving away free CCS to NACS adapters, allowing its F-150s and Mustang Mach-E's to charge at Tesla supercharger locations in the US, which is good. A lot more people, a lot more brands jumping on the NACS bandwagon there in the US, which is good. Question from us, BYD CLUN, don't know. Not that excited about it, to be honest. Don't know.
Yeah, I think before June we'll know a little bit more about it. But yeah, not overly excited or keen about it, especially after learning from Elliot around what it's like to own one of the DMI cars. I mean, that was the big what is it like, and if it means that you still need to put fuel in, and if servicing, like there was already a bit of an uproar when BYD Atto 3 had like an annual servicing plan and the rest of it in Australia. So this maybe double the servicing, get your engine serviced as well as your battery replaced every time you go in.
Now, Elliot, with the Chinese brands like XPeng, Neo, do they need servicing in China?
Yeah, they do, but so it's about once a year, and they just do things like change the filters, check things. For the XPeng, they changed my charging port because there was something wrong with it. But that was it. It took like an hour once a year. That was it. So for Neo, they will pick it up from your house and drive it to the service and drive it back for you, all included in your purchase price. So that's very good service.
Yeah, look, I know Tesla doesn't have an annual or any sort of regular scheduled servicing, but I don't know. I used to think that was great, but I don't know whether maybe we should just get someone to check over the car. I mean, it's still a pretty complicated piece of machinery, right? Even though you don't need to do it, maybe we should just do it as part of a routine once a year. Think of it as the car's prostate checkup. I don't know. I mean, we all go to the doctors once a year, maybe. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. All right, well, I think that might be it for tonight, gents. Here we go. OT Pulse, isn't BYD already making the C-Line for right-hand drive market? Seems strange they opted to convert CLU to right-hand drive. Now the C-Line, I'd love to see that here, but I don't think that's coming here to Australia.
Remind me what the C-Line is. I'm getting lost now.
Yeah, it looks like the Seal, basically. Let me call it up.
It's sort of a Kia EV6, sort of a sleek back, like an Xpeng G6 type of SUV. Supposed to compete with the Model Y, a bit sleeker.
Oh, this.
It's like the Seal, a Seal SUV, basically.
Okay.
At least that's a full electric.
Yeah, good.
I can see you're very excited, Elliot.
Yeah, I'm struggling to see. Yeah, I'm trying to get excited by that, to be honest.
There we go. Gene saying C-Line SUV version of the Seal. Oh, BYD rep got my car from today said they expected the C-Line later this year. They know something we don't. Dolphin Mini? That's not coming though, is it? Rumors?
Yeah. Seagull, yeah.
Seagull, yep. Cool. All right, well, that might be it for tonight, gents. As always, thank you so much, Elliot. Thank you very much for coming on, as always.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute delight and good to get some debate going in the chat as well.
Yeah, love it. Riz, thank you.
Awesome, Tom. Elliot, always amazing to have you on and learn so many fun things. I mean, you're flying between different continents, and we look forward to seeing you back here.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Thanks, everyone. And thanks for watching, too. Seeing 209 viewers at the hour mark. It's fantastic. Thanks so much. So yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday as always, and I'll just pop this on. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy charging. Thanks, Elliot. Thanks, Riz. See ya.
Cheers.